Okay, it being 7:05, I'm going to open the May 28th Conservation Commission meeting. First announcement I'm going to make, we have 3 board members in attendance. First announcement is going to be this meeting is being recorded by Area 58 and can be viewed on YouTube. One of our first issues on matters on our agenda, hearings and appointment for 19 White Island Road. It's a continued NOI, DEP number SC 171-0576. PMP Consultings, anybody here? Okay. We have a microphone for you over there.
Is there anything in the photo?
Can you identify yourself for the record?
Absolutely. Pat Carrara from PMP Consulting, and this is Sammy Cripps from PMP Consulting, representing Jane Werner of 19 White Island Road. As you know, this is a continued NOI. We brought this before the commission a couple weeks ago, went over the plan with them. They requested that the stormwater go over peer review. Pat Brennan from PGB did the peer review, sent out a letter dated March 13th, basically stating that everything was in compliance with the stormwater bylaw. So we're back here hopefully to wrap this up and have you issue an order of conditions.
Okay, just for us that weren't familiar with it, what are you proposing?
Oh, I'm sorry. So they're proposing a 18.5 by 26 foot, it's 26.8 foot addition to the existing dwelling at White Island Road. Septic system is well out in the front. We're not going to be touching that. We've talked to Bob Valerie at the Board of Health. The system was designed for 4 bedrooms. There are currently only 2 in the existing dwelling, so the septic system is going to accommodate the additional living space. They also wish to extend the deck across the back of the addition from the current deck. They're going to leave the stairway in place, so we kind of have a wraparound with the stairway and a railing. The deck will be supported by piers on the existing block retaining wall, so there'll be no actually additional disturbance for the construction of the deck. And then we designed a roof drain infiltration system over here. As was noted in the review, it was designed to accommodate the entire roof area of the house, including the addition. So not just for the addition, but for the entire roof area. So that way we're not shedding any more water towards East Mont Ponza Pond.
Okay. Anything else?
No, just the project, it's all an existing lawn area. There won't be any trees or anything disturbed for this project. And then obviously this area will be restored back to lawn when the project is completed.
So you're saying that the whole entire limit of activity is all in a previously disturbed area?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'm going to open it up to the board. Any questions?
No, I'm the one, I believe, who suggested the peer review for the stormwater management plan because of how close it is to the water, the wetlands. So I was concerned, but I did see that Pat Brennan did the peer review and concurred that the runoff is handled, and that's my big concern when we have an addition is that the applicant come before the board and are able to demonstrate that they're not going to be adding more runoff to the wetlands and disturbing the hydrology. So I'm curious, though, were the abutters, they had to be notified, right?
Yes.
Did any send any
What we'll do is...
complaints in?
I'm going to ask,
any
this should have
concerns
been
in?
submitted to the office, so I'll get the completed butters list, and I should have done that. Thanks for reminding
It
me.
was all submitted as part of the stormwater package.
Okay, and so there were no letters of concern or any of that submitted to the board, correct?
To my knowledge, no, and we'll address the audience after the board has any
Okay.
chance to comment. I'm just going to take a look at this.
Yeah, I don't see anything, nothing in the photo. Any neighbors' concerns?
Okay, no, I'll open up to you, Mr. Lane. Do you have any questions?
No, I don't.
Okay. Is there anybody in the audience that has any questions or concerns regarding 19 White Island Road?
There's one person with a question.
Oh, I'm sorry. Step to the microphone, please.
Hillside Ave. I was wondering what the square footage of the lot was and wondering about DEP law where when you're within 200 feet of the water, raising the amount of bedrooms from what it was to something larger. Is that happening?
No.
Okay. Basically, we're going to go by Robert's rules, so we'll let her ask the questions, address everything to the chair, and we'll get the answers. Okay, anything else?
So that was the rule that I was speaking of about the, if you have 2 bedrooms within the 200 foot, that you only can have 2 bedrooms after that. 0, you have 0 bedrooms. 1, you have 1 because you're in the 200 foot.
Okay, so your question, just so the board's clear, you're questioning the 200-foot setback from Mont Ponce Pond?
Yeah, and expanding on the...
Expansion of the bedrooms. Okay, I believe you addressed that.
Yeah, and also the footprint of the building.
Okay. I just do want to point out that all of these questions aren't part of the Conservation Commission Stormwater Management Program, but I'm going to ask Mr. Kerr to answer those questions for you.
Sure. So just so we're clear, the lot is 19,325 square feet. We were well aware, obviously, of nitrogen loading restrictions with the Mont Ponce Pond, but this was a previous existing 4-bedroom house, and that's why the septic system was designed for 4 bedrooms when it was installed. At some point, when they did this, they remodeled the interior and actually combined some of the rooms. So it has an existing 4-bedroom septic system, and therefore it qualifies as a pre-existing 4-bedroom dwelling.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Board have any other questions? I think they've pretty much addressed the issues. I'm just going to point out that part of the record will be a May 13th letter from Pat Brennan indicating, as Mr. Kerr said, the subsurface infiltration system is sufficient. The straw wattles are sufficient. You will be providing us with an operation and maintenance manual for stormwater.
Yeah, that was actually included with the stormwater management forms and report.
Okay, good. We might not have all of that because of the staff, so. Okay. If, having heard no other questions, I'd be looking for a motion to approve the stormwater permit for 19 White Island Road.
I put a motion that we approve the stormwater management for 19 White Island Road.
I'll second that.
Second that. Here we have a motion and a second. I'm going to go to a vote. Melanie?
I approve.
Okay. Ed?
Yes.
And I approve. Okay. So you're all set. The permit itself, I'm not sure how you're going to get it, but just check with the office in a couple of days and we'll figure out, because there is the process for that permit.
Okay. I think you also have to vote on the order of conditions for the project, because we never actually did the order of conditions for this.
Okay.
Or was that kind of included with the stormwater permit? I'm not sure how you...
Well, my other question was, and I don't want to confuse you, is you must have filed a notice of intent.
We did. That's how we ended up here in the first place.
Okay. And I do not know if that notice of intent hearing has been closed.
No, it was continued to today.
Okay. Our agenda indicates, okay. So actually, you would have had 2 today. So you had the NOI hearing, which is the DEP number, and our hearing. So I'll clarify that for the record. I am going to, unless the board sees otherwise, we'll probably issue a standard order of conditions on the NOI, unless there's any special conditions you want to add.
Unfortunately, I don't have my notes with me. Was there anything specific that we discussed at the last meeting?
Just the stormwater was the major issue we wanted to make sure we had addressed
Okay.
in the peer review.
Okay, then I'm fine with that.
Okay. Ed?
Okay.
Okay. Did you have any soil logs in that stormwater in the infiltration basin area?
We used the soil logs from the soil testing they did for the septic. It was all sand.
Okay. The only thing I might suggest is we might ask that the review engineer just do a bottom hole inspection on the infiltration system.
I was actually going to suggest that if you wanted us out there for that, one or the other, that's fine.
That's fine. You can coordinate that with the office.
Okay,
So,
perfect.
So I'm actually going to be looking for 2 motions. One motion is going to be on the NOI itself, on DEP number SC 171-0576. Do I hear a motion to approve that notice of intent? But that's for this project.
Yes, put a motion for notice of intent for the 19 White Island Road.
I'll second that motion.
We'll go to a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
That's unanimous. The second motion I'll be looking for is to approve the stormwater management plan with, I'm not sure we've got conditions yet, because this is a very new process. With just standard conditions, which is going to require a bottom hole inspection on the infiltration basin. So you can so moved if you want.
So moved.
Okay. Any second?
I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you very much, and we will coordinate with the office on all this.
And you do realize you'll get everything recorded, registry of deeds before you start anything?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. It being 7:15, we have a continued stormwater management hearing for 266 Montponson Street, Thorndike Development. Do we have anybody there?
Good evening, David Eastridge, partner with Thorndike Development. So we were informed by the office that there was a miscommunication issue between, I think, the newspaper and the office here regarding advertisement for this hearing. Yeah, so it had to be redone, and that we're going to be on the agenda for June 11th.
Okay.
So we're going to restart the process. So we really shouldn't speak on the matter this evening.
All right.
Third time's a charm, hopefully.
I just want to point out to you that under our stormwater management regulations, Halifax's, I need you to pay special attention to Section 6, permits and procedures. We are probably going to have to start the process over.
Yes, that's my understanding.
Okay, but...
So re-notifying of others is included in that.
Okay, but I just want to point out that the general notice in the newspaper won't happen until we've completed the process. The procedure requires that you submit a plan, that plan goes out to be reviewed. It's going to be commented by all the boards and committees and towns, and then we're going to sit down with you guys and go over that particular plan. What's happened is this process has been held as if it was a notice of intent. So if you look at Section 6, and if you want, I'll give you a copy of this.
Sure.
We're going to have to follow that procedure. Okay. So if we can stop that ad, then we will.
Okay.
You have submitted, I just want to clarify because I get these mixed up. This is 266. This is the large parcel.
266 is a small parcel
Okay, so
on the west side of the
266.
street. Yep.
There's an outstanding review and that needs to be done. There's some comments that came in the review that needed to be addressed. We haven't seen those yet.
From Pat Brennan? Yes. So we're in the process of responding to those comments. Yeah.
Please review Section 6. I'll give you this if you want. And we can contact the office or myself, and we'll follow this procedure.
Sure.
Okay. So your chances of being June 11th for a public hearing
Are slim, is what you're telling me.
Yes, slim to none. So just sure, if you agree or disagree, just let us know and we'll sit down. But that's the way I interpret the bylaw, and somehow that wasn't followed.
So for my edification, the main difference in the process between what we followed to date and we should follow is that it's going to be sent to other departments for review and comment. Is that the main difference?
The main thing is that there's a time frame that the commission has in order to approve your project. So the way the bylaw is that you submit it, we send it out to be reviewed, we send it out to different boards and committees for their review, we take in all of those comments, we'll have another meeting with all the parties, and then once the commission has a plan that's agreeable to the commission and yourself, then we hold a public hearing at that point.
Interesting. Okay.
Then we hold a public hearing, and then this board will have 21 days from the time we schedule that public hearing, and then additional 21 days to come up with any specific orders or conditions. So it's spelled out in there, and it just got overlooked.
Yeah, okay.
So I'm going to ask her to cancel your June 11th if you can, because we won't be hearing you June 11th.
Sure, that's fine. How do you see the fact that the plans have been submitted, peer-reviewed, they've been issued a comment letter already? How do you see that playing into the process?
It's the same. We're going to take all of your submittals.
Go through it again?
No.
Okay.
You're not going to need to go through any of that.
Good.
Okay, you've made the submittals.
Yep.
All right? Our problem is going to be when we get to once we get everything through my boards and committees, then the emphasis is going to be on the commission to make sure to hold timely hearings. So none of that's going to change, other than we won't have a public hearing for the public until the plans are all reviewed, all the comments are received. That's really the only difference. So it's going to delay you 30 days or so.
Understood.
Maybe 60.
All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Does the board have any questions? No. Okay.
No, not this time.
Anybody from the audience? Okay.
Quick thing, do we continue this or we just, or let a date with?
I am going to say no. I'm going to say that because procedures were followed, we're not going to take him off the agenda, but we really don't have the right process to continue it. I don't think I didn't write your name down. Okay. Yeah. I don't really think there's any real need for us to continue this to a specific date, only because you're going to have to.
I would agree. This particular item is basically null and void at this point, and we're going to kind of restart the process.
Okay. But you're not going to have to pay any more fees. Just my suggestion would be to complete the process from here.
Yep.
Let's start next week. Let's get everything reviewed. Once you get those review comments, it's going to be important that we send that out to our other boards and committees as soon as you get all the reviews done.
Okay.
All right? So we can get that started so it doesn't delay the process.
Sounds good.
Mr. Chair, may I
Yes.
ask a question? So how does that happen? Does he submits it, or the applicant submits it to you or the secretary?
No, the applicant submits the applications to the board.
This board, and then this
to this
board
board.
distributes it for comment?
This board, yes, we'll take that, and we're going to be discussing some of them. That's going to be sent out to be reviewed.
Mm-hmm.
While it's going out to be reviewed, all right, and the board can decide if it's a big project like this is a very big project. There's got to be 13, 14 pages of plans over there. There's going to be some time to review it.
Mm-hmm.
The board can decide, do we want to get comments prior to review, or do we want to get comments during the review process? It's strictly up to the board, as long as all the boards have the opportunity to review it. We'll have another meeting, we'll go over all the revisions, and we'll schedule a public hearing, at which point all the abutters will be notified based on the abutters list, and there will be a publication.
Okay, when do we go about deciding whether or not we want the comments prior to the review or while the review is in process?
I would think at the next meeting, because they'll submit, Mr. Estridge, you're going to be submitting your reviews and everything to the office. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so once he gets that all reviewed, once he gets that all submitted, we can set up an informal discussion with these gentlemen, and then we can decide at that point.
Okay.
Or if you want to decide to send it right out then, it's just, I don't know if it's fair to the board to look at it. The board should be looking at it because you've got some implication in the 50-foot buffer zone. So the board should probably address that.
Prior to sending it out to the others?
That would be my
you think?
suggestion.
Okay.
Ms. Troop, can you go to the mic, please?
New thing today. I was wondering, is it like the 30-day from the site plan, like, like on a site plan for the planning board, how it's like 30 days for the boards to comment? Is that how it's going to be
That's correct.
processed?
Is it 21 days, Ron?
Well, we're 21, planning board might be 30. We're 21 days.
Yes, that's what she
So you'll have 21 days.
21 days for the boards to comment. Okay. We have a 7:10 hearing for Haywood Street, which I believe was not advertised properly, so we are just going to continue that. So I would be looking for a motion to continue Haywood Street, map 121, lot 1D, until our next meeting.
I put a motion that we continue hearing for Haywood Street to June 11th.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous, okay, very good. 265 on Ponce Street. So this is the large parcel.
That is correct.
Okay. Just to clarify, I believe this one was advertised for today. You're going to have to bring me up to date. So the advertising went out for this one?
Yes, yes. This was properly noticed and showed up in the newspaper.
Okay, all right. Again, we're going to have to go through that same procedure.
For both the stormwater and the notice of intent?
Okay.
Because so we're in front of you for two items, the notice of intent and the stormwater permit.
Okay.
Obviously, we can do
And I
the notice of
apologize.
intent now in the stormwater.
Okay, so you're
With the
strictly
new
notice of
procedure.
intent
Yeah.
right now? Okay. I know you got an ANRAD. I have not seen a notice of intent. Has that NOI been reviewed? Okay, yeah, we're getting mixed up here.
This is 265. That's what I came out.
Do we have a DEP number? Let me see.
The DEP number per the agenda?
No, 171,058. No, we have a DEP number from DEP.
Yeah, 0578.
Okay, Mr. Etheridge, do you know, or does anybody remember if this NOI, was there any discussion about it being reviewed, either the wetlands plan or the plan itself?
I think
or-
there's been reviews on this. We had for the,
You had an INRAD on this, right?
Correct.
yeah.
Okay. Was there anything else done? Have you submitted anything else that needed to be reviewed?
Did we have a peer review done on this?
That's my question.
On the
Okay.
ORAD you did, but not on the notice of intent, to my knowledge.
Okay. All right, where this is on an NOI, we'll let them continue, and then you can decide, I don't know what your procedure's been to decide whether or not you want what they're going to be doing reviewed. If we have an established wetland line,
Yeah,
then if they're not within the 50-foot, then it's up to the commission.
yeah.
Go ahead, sir.
Good evening, David Eastridge, Thorndike Development. With me tonight is Paul McManus from Ecotech and Josh White from JDE Civil. He is our wetland scientist and our civil engineer. So we're here in front of you, at least for a notice of intent, if not for a stormwater permit, for 265 Mont Ponce. So this is what you've referred to as the large parcel, located over here to the east side of Mont Ponce Street. So this site has a bit of history. It was previously permitted back in 2014, 2015 for a number of townhouses, and development was actually started on that project. Their work included installation of this road with associated drainage, actually construction of a first foundation for 6 units. A number of utilities for this kind of loop road are installed for drainage and sewer as well. This whole area was prepped as a leaching field for their septic system. And this detention basin, along with its outlet structure, was constructed as well. So this was basically abandoned for, since 2015, and the site has kind of sat fallow ever since. So recently, we've entered the picture, and similar to 266 on the left side of the street, this lot is subject to the Senior Housing Overlay District. And as we mentioned before, we have an ORAD on the wetlands line that we've received as well. This site is also subject to a master development agreement that was approved at town meeting last year. So that has a number of obligations on the developer and also on the town. It's a bit of a partnership, and that involves, as part of the master development agreement, we're required to construct pickleball courts on this lot, contribute up to $2.6 million for a senior center on this lot, place a conservation restriction on the southern half of this parcel, which is about 12.4 acres, and senior center. Yes, and a number of other things, including some off-site sidewalks and crosswalks and the like. So in that effort, we've actually already subdivided the land into 4 different lots. There's a senior center lot located here, a pickleball lot located here, the main parcel here, and then the southern parcel is going to receive a conservation restriction where there's no planned work. So that's a little bit of the background of the permitting. Let me switch to the site plan, and I'll talk a little bit about our development program. So this is our proposed layout. So this application covers this main parcel here, and also the pickleball court. It does not cover the senior center parcel. That will require separate permitting with actually the town as an applicant once that design gets worked out. We have treated this lot essentially like a lot in a commercial subdivision, so that we've designed infrastructure inclusive of the stormwater to accommodate the impervious area that's being added to that land. But we haven't done the design for this. So we've looked forward and made our design in anticipation of that, but there will be a separate permit submitted for this lot through planning and conservation. So our proposal, we have our main entrance located here. Currently, if you're familiar with the site, the driveway entrance is located about here. So it's a little bit farther to the north is where we're going to locate our entrance. We come in here, we have kind of a loop road around a central green. This is consistent where the former leaching field was, and this will be the location of our leaching field for our septic system. We're proposing 2 main buildings. Each has 36 units in them, 3 stories each, and a series of 5 separate garage buildings, as well as a pool house and a pool. Other amenities include some community gardens located here. So those will be a fenced-in area, raised planting beds, that type of thing. Central Green and the community gardens is something that we've done. It's kind of been a signature of our communities, for most of our communities in the last couple decades. So as I mentioned, the public components of this are going to be the pickleball courts here. We're installing a sidewalk that goes down to the housing authority land here, as well as the senior center here that we're, again, contributing to, and we'll see whether we end up building it as a GC or not. That's to be determined. So with that basic overview, I'm going to turn it over to Paul, and he'll talk about the wetland resources.
Thanks, Dave. Again, Paul McManus, professional wetland scientist from Ecotech. I won't talk too much about the wetland delineation. The commission, as the chairman said, reviewed that already through the ANRAD process and had Brandon Faniff's input on that. Josh will talk about the stormwater management and meeting compliance with that. Another issue that I suspect the commission is aware of is that somewhere along in the process, I don't remember the exact date, there was a submission to the commission of some photos of eastern box turtle on the site. Dave brought that to our attention. We went to Natural Heritage, met with Natural Heritage, and it was agreed, although because of the box turtle is kind of the lowest of 3 categories in the endangered species program, so the site is not remapped as priority and estimated habitat, but nevertheless, Natural Heritage wanted us to submit a turtle protection plan, which we did do, and then with that, a scientific collection permit application, which we have done and received. Essentially, the goal of the turtle protection plan is to cordon off the site so that if there are any eastern box turtles happen to wander onto the site, that they don't get impacted during the construction process. So if you go by there now, you'll see that the majority of the site is encircled by silt fence. They have a kind of an ingenious gate in the front that can close, and it has a pipe that goes down tight to the ground surface, so that when on the weekends or whatever, if there's no one there, the gate's closed, and you're not going to have turtles wandering in there. So that perimeter fence went up in the spring and early April, which was a cutoff date for basically cordoning off the area, because the expectation from the life history of the turtles is that they wouldn't be out on a site like this. They wouldn't start moving toward it until mid-April or after. So that cordoning off happened before that. There is a small portion of the site that was not included, and if that gets developed, and obviously that's subject to permitting, final permitting and all, that has not been cordoned off. So the process there in the turtle protection plan, the scientific collection permit, is that area would get cordoned off with entrenched silt fence, and then there would be what Natural Heritage calls turtle sweeps, where we literally go out and they specify, you have to have people qualified by Natural Heritage to do this. We go out and literally beat the bushes looking for turtles, and they specify a number of hours per acre of search area. It has to be done when there's good conditions, when the turtles might be moving. You don't want to do it on a cold, rainy day, for example. And so there's a number of hours on non-consecutive appropriate weather days. And when that's done, we then write that up, submit it to Natural Heritage. What we did, these are the dates, the times, the personnel, and these, of course, are our findings. If we do, the reason you need a scientific collection permit is because you're not supposed to touch, they use the term harass, but touching an eastern box turtle is against the law, unless one has a scientific collection permit. So if we were to find a turtle out there, we would photograph it, identify the conditions that we found it, and simply take it and move it outside the exclusion barrier. So,
Can I just interrupt you 1 second? I don't want you to lose your train of thought. Could you show us on one of the plan the area that you're talking about? This is just an array, but is one of your other plans, and I've reviewed those, and I know you've got a big layout. If you don't mind showing the commission which areas.
We're talking about with the turtle.
With the turtles plus the area, you've got a conservation restriction on some areas. Just so we have a big picture, because this is just a rendering.
thanks, Josh. So
That thick green.
the green, I just want to make sure, thanks. I don't want to misspeak. The green line all the way around the perimeter here is the turtle exclusion barrier. The conservation restriction area is actually off the plan. It's to the south. There's nothing proposed, so it doesn't show on this figure. But it's all the rest of the lot down here, which is about 12 acres.
Yeah, 12.4.
About 12 and a half acres. So that's the turtle exclusion barrier. And so obviously, it's a lot simpler, less labor intensive to go and get the barrier up before the April 15 deadline, rather than have to go and put in, be a lot of hours doing turtle sweeps on that area. But that's it.
Okay, I'll let you continue.
So,
Yeah, with that,
Just, if I may, anybody got any questions for him just yet?
Question, obviously, it says between April and, what is it, June, May, June, you'll be doing these searches for the turtle, you said that's when you usually...
well, we don't need to do searches in here.
Yeah.
But for the remainder area, if that, were to be cordoned off with the exclusion barrier, then there would need to be searches in there before any work was done, for any ground disturbing work. So regardless, if that happened today, we could go out tomorrow. Could be day one of the searches. It can't be consecutive days, and then it's up until September 15, I think. Don't hold me to that. I can't remember the exact date. There's an end date. But if it's basically during the warm weather, you need to, if you put up the exclusion barrier during the warm weather, then you need to do the sweeps. That's really it in a nutshell.
So is it fair to say that's going to be the limit of work during the project? That erosion control, that...
So the answer is no to that. So this is an exclusion zone. The limit of work will actually be established as part of this process. It'll be, as you would typically do, requiring sedimentation control at the perimeter of the limit of work. The reason that this is done is just to exclude certain areas where we will need to do those turtle sweeps. So for example, if our future limit of work is here, and the existing turtle barrier is here, we'll have to do sweeps within this area, as an example. So it'll be between the current silt fence that's out there and the future silt fence that we put up as part of our new limit of work.
Any other questions on the turtles? Okay.
So with that, I'll turn it over to Josh. He's going to speak a little bit about the stormwater management.
We're on the NOI, though.
Stormwater is part of the NOI.
I think we gotta... Okay.
So again, just for the record, Josh White from JD Civil, representing Thorndike for this development. So this plan we have here basically is the demo and sediment control plan. Basically from the previous plan we were just talking about with the turtles, we do show a brown line which encompasses the proposed limit of work so far. Obviously that's pending comments, so that could change, but obviously it pretty much matches the turtle line more or less. This area, the existing septic system, the existing foundation is going to be removed from the previous development. And then this is one of the existing basins that was partially constructed under the previous development, and it's going to remain for this development. This is our site layout. Like Dave mentioned, we've got the pickleball court up front, some parking here, the driveway in to the pool house with the ring road around the center green, the pool, and the two large 36-unit buildings. 4 garage buildings proposed on the site, as well as parking throughout. Go to the So the overall of the grading and drainage for the development, like I mentioned, this existing basin is going to be remained and reused. We're going to modify the outlet control structure to gain some extra volume. Basically, for the previous development, this area was proposed to be undeveloped grass or meadow. Obviously, with the senior center proposed there, we took the roof area and the impervious from that lot and directed it into this basin and kind of future-proofed it. So all I would have to do is put a pipe into this sediment forebay, and it would be accounted for in that design. The road would be captured by catch basins out to this. There's going to be a storm scepter CDS treatment unit into a sediment forebay and then out to the basin. The pickleball court is going to be some sort of impervious material, so we're proposing 2 bioretention areas on either side of it to treat that stormwater runoff. This wetland has a pipe that under the previous development, so prior to the previous development, this pipe went out here. From the previous development, that pipe went into this basin. In our current design, we're proposing to put a manhole here and redirect the pipe this way. That way we're not adding any more water. It's basically just not going into the basin to accommodate this extra impervious area.
Could I just ask one question?
Yeah.
The drawing shows that the original pipe going to that sediment area was a 10-inch pipe. Is that pipe going to remain?
It's going to be remain a 10-inch pipe.
Okay. And then you're going to add an additional 10-inch pipe.
Yeah, we're going to put a manhole right about here and intercept that pipe. This will be removed, and then this will be redirected out here.
You don't have very much pitch in that pipe either.
Yep, it's flat.
So that's okay. So 2 10-inch pipes. All right. I'm fine with that.
Yep. The roof of the pool cabana building is going to be redirected into this basin, and then
Is there any treatment prior, once it comes off the roof, before it goes into the basin?
it's not required. The roof runoff it's considered clean runoff, so it doesn't need to be treated for TSS or anything like that. But all the other treatment trains throughout the development will meet the required TSS removal. Majority of the site captured with.
If you don't mind.
Yeah.
Do you folks understand TSS? That's called total suspended solids. And just take a minute, because these folks are new to this.
Yeah. So it's basically the material that's carried away in runoff, sand, dirt, leaves, sticks, cigarettes, that kind of stuff that you find in runoff from water. So you want that to be treated and removed via a treatment unit or a sediment forebay, so it doesn't clog up your drainage system, whatever it might be. Down here, we've got another large infiltration basin, sediment forebay before, treatment unit before, and it'll be captured by a trench drain, catch basins that'll convey the runoff down here will be treated and ultimately discharged to the wetland offsite off this lot. Right here, we've got a subsurface system. It's a large chamber system to accommodate a portion of this parking lot, as well as the roof of a handful of these buildings, garage buildings and large apartment building. It's got an overflow pipe that'll convey it down here to a swale, which will direct it out to the wetland.
So that second set of basins, the infiltration basins, aren't going into the sediment bay?
So there's
These bottom ones here?
these ones.
No? Yes, yeah.
So this one, I'll go to a zoomed in view so you can see a little more detail. So we've got a catch basin here, and a catch basin here, and a catch. That's it for this one. But this last row of chambers is going to be wrapped in filter fabric, so it'll act as an isolator row, which is a BMP that is made by StormTech. It helps filter out the material and provide the treatment for the underground system.
Okay, just one other thing, BMP, just want to explain that.
Sure. Best management practice. It's kind of just a quick abbreviation for that.
So basically, you're designing this based on stormwater,
Yep.
the handbook, and the guidelines.
Yep. As well as the local regs. So the roof runoff from this will go into this system and ultimately overflow this way.
So to answer my question, there's going to be a pipe coming from the infiltration basin
Yep.
to the sediment, beyond the sediment bay?
Yep.
Is that beyond that?
Yep, because if it were to overflow this area, it'll already be treated.
Okay.
That
Any questions on this part of it? Maybe let me ask just one more question. The large main building, how are you going to do to accomplish the roof runoff on that? Is that going into that 6-inch pipe that's going to head down to the bay?
So on the rear,
No, this building's covered by this infiltration basin to the rear, that building there.
yeah, this one has a roof drain collection system. It'll take it down here, and it'll tie in. The tie-in point right here is this manhole, and it'll go into this drainage pipe and into this sediment bay, and then this basin.
So basically, you're saying that all your roof drain coverage, you have all your roof drains coverage.
Yep, everything is accounted for. The garage buildings have a similar. This one have downspouts to the roof drain system that'll connect here. Go to the other page to show it. The roof drain for the, like I mentioned before, the roof drains for the pool building will just go into this basin. The patio has, the pool area patio has a couple area drains, which will be at the start of this drainage line will be directed down here. This garage is piped into this system as well. In between the garages and this building is a trench drain in the parking lot, which will capture the runoff and direct it down. And that's all the buildings for this development. Like I mentioned before, this senior center lot is accounted for in the drainage calcs. So in the future plans would be put a manhole here and a pipe into this sediment bay, which is sized appropriately, and the basin that's sized appropriately, and that lot would be treated as well.
If you don't mind, let me just, any questions at this point? We've got roof drainage covered.
Since you put in a pool, I'm not familiar with this type of thing. Since you have a pool, what's the runoff of the pool? Was that going into your septic type system, or does that go to leach field?
It goes to the drainage system, the large drainage basin down at the bottom in the south. It's just going to be little, probably 12-inch area drains for the patio. You won't even notice it because the patio area, they're basically flat, so you wouldn't really notice them. But we kind of directed them to the corners to capture any runoff because you don't want to go into the pool. So the pool.
Yeah. The pool itself, like when you have to drain it, whatever else.
Yep.
There's always like, what type of pool is it? Chlorine or is it salt water?
Do you know?
Because the runoff to that goes into the,
Our last two have been saltwater. That's all I can say at the moment. We haven't gotten that level of detail yet.
I'm just thinking about the runoff to,
If it was saltwater, would there be any impact? I'm getting more TSSs. I don't know if that would impact service.
Typically, you don't drain it all the way down anyways. You don't want to.
I didn't measure the
yeah.
pool. That pool's probably 40 by 60, so it's halfway is going to be 9,000 gallons, so.
Yep.
Okay.
So I also do have a question, but I don't know if we're there yet. Okay.
Good, want to ask it? Good.
Yeah, what has been decided so far about a peer review? We're talking about just the stormwater management portion right now?
We're talking about the NOI, but I think we should let them make their presentation, and then we'll go to a vote on the peer
Okay,
review.
so that has
This
not
project
been
is, yeah, this project
decided yet.
is much too big
Okay.
for us.
Okay.
A couple of things I wanted to just point out. I believe, I think Paul touched on this briefly, but we'll get into kind of the logistics with the previous project before. But we do have a small replication area, wetland replication area, that was part of the previous development. It wasn't done, and now the order's expired, so we're going to get into that.
yeah, but,
Yeah, later. So we've got this area here shown.
That was my question on the replication area. Have them NOIs been closed as of yet? They weren't closed in your past papers?
so we have to close it and,
Yeah, again, Paul McManus, so this dark area, you can't see it from the back, but this dark area is a proposed wetland replication area of 1,500 square feet. The approval from roughly 10, 12 years ago, it allowed for some wetland fill, required wetland replication. This plan proposes no wetlands fill, but the wetlands replication from the now expired order wasn't done, so it seemed appropriate that that be rolled into this application. So that's what this is. There's a planting spec and a construction spec for that, but that's what this is really trying to catch up from the failings of the prior permit. That order of conditions has long expired. So as a practical matter, that needs to be addressed by the commission. In my experience, this unfortunately happens from time to time. And what I found that the most effective way that commissions can deal with it is that Thorndike would submit a request for a certificate of compliance on that, because you need to have something on which to act. So they would submit that request for a COC, and the hope would be that concurrent with issuing an order that required, for example, this replication, so an order for this plan, or perhaps a revised version, but essentially this plan, including the replication, so that you could then hopefully issue an approval for this, at the same time issue a certificate of compliance, which was very explicit in that the certificate of compliance was that order conditions was not fully complied with. However, the outstanding issues are addressed by new file number, whatever this file number is. So I found that to be acceptable. It makes, among other things, it makes for a nice clean paper trail, and for the commission, so that down the road when if this gets approved and they want to close out this, there's a clear understanding, a clear record of what happened with the prior order. So that would be my suggestion if that's agreeable to the commission. Dave is prepared to submit a request for COC, kind of with that understanding that that you cannot issue a COC that says it's compliant, that the old one's compliant, because it just isn't. But this hopefully would rectify it. So
We can incorporate that with this notice.
that's my suggestion. Yes.
That answers my question on the replication. Any questions on, you probably didn't get a chance to look at the plan, but I did look at the full set, and I wondered why they had a replication area. And one of my questions is going to be, is there going to be any work proposed in the 50-foot? No touch zone.
So no, there's no new work proposed in the 50-foot no touch zone.
Can you point out what was done prior in the new? Because it appeared, when I looked at the plans, that latest control structure heading towards that wetlands on the easterly portion, so that's pre-existing. This, you're gonna-
This outlet system?
Right, that's pre-existing.
Correct.
So that's currently
That's what this replication area was designed to serve.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's kind of, that swap or offset is part of addressing the old order of conditions in a way.
Is that correct?
Yeah. And we also, so this purple line is the 50-foot on here. So we went through an exercise already of when we first designed this, and we just had slopes kind of coming off. We were into the 50-foot. So we actually added, before this was submitted, but internally, added some retaining walls here. That's kind of the thicker lines, just so we would stay out of the 50-foot.
Any questions so far? It's just a lot to absorb.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure what the process is because, they have the NOI with the stormwater management permit process is now changed, and that's part of the NOI. But I just have a general question about what you're using for low-impact development features in this plan. Is that going to be addressed during this process, or is now a good time for you to address that and explain that?
No, that's part of kind of the stormwater, which is part of the notice of intent. So as I would characterize it, the local stormwater permit really parallels the review of the stormwater design that's required as part of the notice of intent. So the information that we provide showing that we're complying with the stormwater handbook is a requirement of the notice of intent. So all that, it's kind of the same information that's being submitted, even though there are two processes that are looking at that same information. So again, if you want to modify that, that's fine. That's how I'm
okay with
framing
that.
it. Yeah.
But we are right now talking about the notice of intent, not the stormwater management.
Okay.
So to answer your specific
yeah.
question,
Yeah, stormwater
now is a
management.
good time.
That will be, that
Yep.
procedure is going to, and I'll discuss that with him if you
Yep.
want. So this is strictly the notice of intent for the wetlands.
And so I know that you brought this up at one of the previous hearings, and we do have a little bit more elbow room on this site. So as opposed to our previous submission across the street where almost all of the stormwater was subsurface, in this case, the vast majority of our stormwater practices are on the surface, not underground. So you can speak to this in more detail. But these types of bioswales are exactly one of the items that fits into that low impact design category. So I don't know if you want to elaborate or...
Yeah, I'll just add a couple bit more words to that. So the low impact that we have proposed here, the two bioretention areas on either side of the pickleball courts, that'll allow the runoff to just sheet flow by gravity into the area where it'll be planted and it'll infiltrate into the ground, and any excess water would overflow into and follow up this way. Like I mentioned, this swale, we've got that proposed as a low impact, and really just tried to minimize the work within the buffer zone to the max extent we could. Just as a kind of overall, we do have about 30,000 square feet of work within the 100-foot buffer zone. That's about 0.9 acres.
Can I just clarify real quick? So is that between the yellow and the purple?
That's between the yellow and the entire 100-foot.
Oh, that, thank you.
With no work within the purple to the blue.
Okay.
So that 0.9 acres is about 7% of the lot, and about 11% of the proposed development as a whole. So just kind of put that in kind of perspective. Just want to touch on a couple other things before we take some questions. just want to show the overall utility plan. Water stub was done for the previous development, and that's going to be connected for this new development. It'll be an 8-inch water main that'll loop around the building. There's, I believe, 3 or 4 hydrants proposed, but any modifications of that will be worked out with the water department if they requested anything more. This large area right here within the central green, that's the proposed septic system. Got tanks and a pump chamber with a generator proposed right there. Those plans will be submitted to the Board of Health as this process goes along. But that's the area for the septic system. I think it should be noted that while the drainage for this lot is included, the septic system is not. That's correct. Yeah, I think that's kind of a very high-level overview of this. We look forward to working with the commission and any review engineer who looks at this throughout the NOI and stormwater process. So we'll take questions from the board at this time, I think.
Yeah. So this, just a couple other items. So this is our first permitting effort for this specific lot in front of the commission. So in the coming weeks, we will also be submitting to Planning Board and to Board of Health, as Josh mentioned. So this is, but you're the first commission or board to see the full 265 submittal. And with that, we'll take any questions you might have.
I do have one more question. So the pickleball court, you said that will be impervious, and it is going, a little bit of that is going within the 100-foot buffer?
Yes, that's correct. So this is the yellow line here. So it's kind of just clipping the corner.
Is there a reason that cannot be a pervious concrete?
I'm not aware. Well, so this is going to be the town's. So we're building it and turning it over to the town. And pervious concrete is a real maintenance issue. And so that's something that we could discuss. But the town is going to be responsible for the cost of maintenance of this surface after we build it and turn over the land. So it's not, just to put that in context, it's not just us involved in this. It is a partnership.
Understood.
One question. The surface of the pickleball, is it going to be concrete or is it going to be?
It'll be that, basically like a tennis court, that kind of typical.
Is it asphalt?
Yes. Yeah. It's an asphalt. It's a bituminous product. It's just got particular
Right, so you could.
small aggregate and that sort of thing in it.
So you could use the impervious type asphalt in that particular case to address her concerns. I mean, they do have an impervious
The
asphalt
pervious.
with an underground system, but that's,
The permeable, you mean?
yeah, permeable, I'm sorry, okay. But that's, I guess,
Again,
some suggestions that we.
Yeah, we've accommodated the runoff for that
Yeah.
in very environmentally conscious way with the bioswales that actually, if they do overflow, they basically flow through the meadow. So it's another kind of grassy swale, natural cleansing that occurs before they make it to the wetlands.
Ed, any other questions?
No.
I think before we open it up to the audience, I think I'd like to have the commission decide whether this is going to go out to be reviewed or not, then I'll take comments from the public. So, what's the board's feelings on getting this reviewed by our review engineer?
I think it's an absolute necessity on a project this size.
Okay, then I would be looking for a motion to send this out to PM Pat Brennan for review.
I will make a motion to send this NOI out to Pat Brennan, well, for peer review.
To peer review.
I second that motion.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I'm just going to open it up to the audience, and then we'll discuss that afterwards. Anybody in the audience got any questions so far on this particular project? Yes. I'm going to have to ask you either to come up, or can you pass her the mic, just so that we get everybody, and just make sure, identify yourself for the record. I know.
Tina Alger, 340 Plymouth. all your water on 266, your stormwater, your drains that are out in front, are they staying on the property on 266, or are they coming over to 265?
Mr. Chair? There's no drainage that goes underneath Montponson Street connecting the two sites. Does that answer your question?
That's fine, thank you.
Any other questions to the audience? Mr. Drew?
I would have a question.
Why don't you go over for the cameras, that's all.
Okay. Amy Drew, I'm wondering when the last time this has been wetland flagged?
Go ahead, Mr.
That was part of the ORAD, so I believe it was about, I want to say, 9 months ago, that order of magnitude.
August of 22.
Pretty close.
August the 22nd. Any other questions?
Yes. Was it witnessed by anybody that represents the town?
Let me just point out, the wetlands delineation is done by their organization, and we are now going to send it out to be peer reviewed, but that would have been reviewed during the NRAD, so that line would have been verified by our representative at the time of the NRAD. So the answer to the question is yes.
Please make sure.
Yeah, it was Brendan Phaneuf was, who's your consultant for wetlands issues.
He walked the flag.
Yeah, he walked the flag with our consultant.
They looked at every flag.
Okay. In some instances, they're using, I think, ecosystem in some of them, but in this particular case, if Pat Brennan did it, then...
No, this was not Pat. This was
It's
Brendan Phaneuf?
Oh, that was...
Yeah, Brandon Phaneuf.
Oh, so
Yeah,
the
he's been doing
ecosystem...
our.
Okay.
Yeah, he's the one who was out there with our consultants. He made some suggestions. We modified our map, and that's what got approved. As
And
part
that
of the
line
order.
has been approved.
Correct.
Any other questions from the audience? Okay.
Has the state approved the bylaw overlay yet?
Not relevant to the conservation process, but I'll answer the question nonetheless.
You don't have to answer the question. Again,
That's
it's not
fine.
relevant, so, but it's up to you. You want to answer it, go ahead.
That's fine. We anticipate it being issued on June 7th. That's the date we've been told.
Just to further comment on that, the issues that are before the Conservation Commission are relative to the wetlands portion of this. We're not the permitting process, so if for some reason that bylaw is not approved by the Attorney General's office, all this is for naught, because all we're determining is whether or not your plan meets our bylaws. We're not issuing any building permits or any...
I concur.
Thank you. Any other questions from the audience? Okay. Don't. Okay. I am going to be looking for a motion. Actually, in that last motion, we're going to use Pat Brennan to review this portion, okay, because he's going to do the stormwater. Okay. I'm not sure how long it's going to take. I don't want to put you on for the next agenda and him not being sufficient, because before I do this motion, a couple of questions I had. It looks like on this particular plan, you've got your observation holes in that retention area. Okay. I didn't see any soil logs anywhere on the plan. Was they missing or not on the plan itself?
Yeah.
I mean, I did.
Sometimes we do them on the plan when there are this many, and we tend to not. But we did include them with the drainage report, but we can certainly add them to the plan as
I
well.
mean, they should be added to the plan. I did see you had modeling, but your modeling suggestions were strictly on particular notes. And I think we should have some soil logs.
Yep, we can have those.
Folks, basically that tells us what's out there for material, where the groundwater is, so that we know we're going to get a reasonable amount of penetration in the soil.
Sure.
So you don't have a
Yep.
problem adding.
That makes sense.
1 month? Perfect. Well, I'd be looking for a motion to continue this till, what's on meeting a month away?
About, what's that, July 9th?
Yeah, there's June 25th
Well, that can't
or
be-
July 9th.
Yeah, I prefer June 25th as a month. Perhaps we'll get a 2-for-1 deal that evening. We'll see how 266 goes.
So I am looking for a motion to continue this with peer review until 6/25/24.
I put a motion, so moved.
So moved. Okay.
I'll second that.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Please, you can reach out to the office. We got some changes going on, but they'll come up with some sort of a number for you guys to provide the account for the initial peer review.
Understood.
Okay? Anything else? Thank you.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You're leaving right away, right? If you got a minute, I'll explain. Okay? Let me finish up the hearing. What do I do with my agenda? Oh, here it is now. Okay. All right. Next item on the agenda is 25 Crescent Avenue. We have a tree removal request. We have an RDA. That would be you, sir.
Good evening.
Identify yourself for the record.
I'm Sean Merchant. I live at 25 Crescent Ave in Pembroke. Kathy had come out last week, I believe, and did a site visit. Newcomb Tree came out, marked the trees, so she could see that. Newcomb told us they were going to send a letter to the office about, right up to the trees and stuff. But I haven't seen anything from them since, so.
I haven't either, so. Miss Evans is not here tonight. I didn't receive any emails or anything regarding your situation.
No, Larry.
I don't believe I have.
I'm gonna ask that we continue this for 2 weeks, but I was under the impression you were gonna provide us some pictures of what you wanted to do.
Kathy had gone, she'd taken a bunch of photos of the yard, of the trees, and she did all that. My wife, I was at work. I didn't.
Okay, all right. If you don't mind, just take a few pictures, make sure they get to the office, just for some reason, we can reach out to Kathy to see what her decision was.
Yeah.
But if some reason she's not here to present them, we need somebody to present them.
Okay.
Okay, so we're gonna continue
To the next
25 Crescent Avenue until
next meeting.
next meeting.
I put a motion that we continue 25 Crescent Ave to June 11th.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. Thank you. 3 6th Avenue. On down, folks. Who was going to do your site visit?
Kathy came out on Thursday.
Okay. All right.
So Susan and Kenneth Nelson for 36 Ave.
Okay, I do have one question. I know you had showed us some pictures the last time.
I'm just
You're
checking
going
my
to submit
email
those to
real
the
quick.
office, have you?
To see.
Okay.
I did. I sent the 6 that I showed at the last meeting, and then I sent in an additional 15 of them.
Okay. All right, go ahead, continue.
So the new ones just showed, I guess, the overgrowth of the tree, the type of tree, and the diameters of the tree within the area of question.
It's just a little.
Once you have Melanie look at that.
Identified them as birch. I did send a picture of the
They are birch.
leaves.
Okay, that looks correct to me. That was my first assumption, that they were birch. So,
But you'll see the difference, like the ones that I submitted when we did our first meeting, there's no leaves, now there's leaves on them, so it looks a little more overgrown, but.
all right.
So do you mind just telling us, I guess, basically how many trees are coming down,
So if
And
you.
the caliper?
Yeah, so that was the question that we had at the end. At the end, we were deciding, and Kathy, we were trying to figure out with her as well, the diameter of the tree. Like what is, the majority of them are, what, under 2? They're about 2 inches.
The caliper is measured when the tree just comes out of the ground, so that's the caliper.
Yeah, the majority of them are small. There were a few that she looked at, but she didn't really give a decision on them. She just kind of said, okay, that you can see them better in this clear picture here, like in the beginning of
Oh, this is this.
near the rock. Yeah. So it's, these were the ones that were in question, but I know you and Kimberly were asking about the circumference of how big, so we didn't know what the cutoff, and neither did Kathy. So that was our question.
You were looking for the caliper? Or
We
the-
were looking for what the diameter was, like how far around they are. If it was,
Typically, you measure a tree by what's called a caliper, so it would be right, excuse me, should be measured right about here, just as she comes out of the ground, just as that
Okay.
tree comes. That would be the caliper. That's the common way to do that. This one here is 1 or 2 inch. This looks like a 6 or 8 inch, so
Right.
is that, you were looking for that?
that's what I was curious about. How many of them were 8 inches or more, which would be considered a fully established, how many of the ones that you were looking to remove were fully established adult trees? And
There weren't that many that were that size, that, Kathy and I and my husband looked at. And then that's where he said, was it an 8-inch cutoff? Was it a 6-inch cutoff? Or what was the cutoff that you guys had decided on?
well, we were just asking you
Yeah, we
what
were
size
just
they are,
asking,
but I believe standard it's 6 inches.
6. Okay, so the majority of them are under 6. Like I said, a lot of them are just they're tiny, about 2 inches. And that's what makes up the majority of them. The bigger ones those are the ones that are over the wires that would be trimmed. And that's what we had told her there then, that there's a picture in there that the branches go through the wires. And that was our biggest concern with those, that
Okay, so I thought last time we discussed, the chair asked for you to give us a plan of really detailed what it was that you wanted to do.
I didn't know how else more detail of
In
there's
writing.
probably about, 25 trees that are tiny. I mean, to count each one of them, and then I figured if we counted the bigger ones that were there's one of them that I marked on there, the bigger caliber tree, and those would not be removed. That was in one of the photos that I marked.
So last time, I think you weren't saying that you weren't going to remove the larger trees. I
Yeah,
think
we're
you were
not gonna
saying you
remove
were
those.
going to. So that's
No.
what we need clarification on,
Yeah,
I
we're-
think,
we're
in
not-
writing, right?
So
Mr.
last
Chair?
time it was determined what could we remove? So then at the end, you said anything under 6 inches was okay. So we went and redid the pictures and did more in-depth pictures of what is actually there, and Kathy came out to look to show that we're just looking to get rid of the smaller ones and to keep the bigger ones, and the bigger ones would need to be trimmed because they're in the wires, the telephone and cable wires in the yard. Yeah.
Secondary line.
If I can make a suggestion, Kathy's not here, and don't really want to keep kicking the can down the road. Is this all been previously disturbed? It's lawn, it's something like that?
It's all like brush, leaves, pine needles,
If I can make a suggestion,
from the rock pictured in there to the shed. There's nothing behind the shed, and behind the shed is closer to the water. None of that will be touched. None of that is just going to be disturbed. It's all from the shed up, and I thought I put it in the picture there of where that area was.
if I can make a suggestion, if Ms. Plant so agrees, we could issue, if the commission wants to, a negative determination with some conditions that no trees 6 inches caliper or less be cut.
You mean, or greater, 6 inches or greater? I think you said or less.
6 inches or greater.
Okay.
Correct. Or where Kathy isn't here, we can continue it, but I think
Yeah.
That's clearly up to the board.
Yeah.
You know, we've got some pretty heavy agenda stuff coming, so.
There was more to what you were asking for last time, that wasn't
Yeah,
there?
also
So
like
the
this.
other was the other side of
This part of
the
this,
other side
can I
of
fill
the
that in?
yard, to fill in the yard to where there's like the big hole, and that's the other half of the yard, to fill that in, so that it's level. We get rid of that hole so there's no mosquitoes. And then the back of the house, which is that picture right there on top, right near the water, to put grass there and loam. And like I said, no fertilization, just, you know, hydroseeding with fingers crossed that something grows, because right now it's mud, so.
And so if we were to do, negative determination on the RDA with conditions, we would also want to make sure that the conditions said that there would be no fertilizer and that there would be proper precautions taken to keep the grass and to
Keep it stabilized.
keep it stabilized and not affect the water.
Yeah, I think we agreed on that the last time, like that part, that other half of the project was, like I said, to all mapped out. He's got it, or the landscaper has it, you know, understandable to make sure that there was, I think Kimberly had a concern about the hydroseeding on the loam going into the
Right.
water. That will be addressed. It's just more to get rid of the whole, level off that yard and, you know, put something in the back, which is directly, within the 50 feet of the water.
Mr. Chair, can we possibly do like a stipulation with any objection from Kathy? Like say we allow them to take down the trees with whatever condition Kathy decided not to cut down these trees. She can maybe address those?
Yeah, I think what we could do is we could issue a negative, which allows you the ability to do that, but we'd give you some conditions that are going to be similar to our notice of intent, being that you're not going to be using any fertilizers other than natural fertilizers. You're not going to cut any trees 6 inches or larger. And I would probably make the suggestion that those trees to be removed, to be marked, and if Kathy can't come back, if Ms. Plant wants to just do a drive-by.
Sure. It's
feel
very
for that.
hard to show in the photo. It is, and I tried to go out and just even mark the bigger ones, and that's even harder to see even in a photo. So I took a photo and I was trying to mark them, but it's hard because there's so many.
Yeah, there seems to be quite a few going to the wire to the house, the power to your house.
Yeah, so the one there's some of the skinnier ones go to the power to the house, but then there are some of the bigger ones that those would have to just be trimmed, up above, not cut. The branches would have to be trimmed so that they're off the wires.
Yeah, utilities usually recommend that.
Yeah.
All right.
So what I would be doing is I would be looking for a negative determination with conditions.
So what does that mean, the negative determination?
Okay. Let me finish.
Negative doesn't sound
Yeah.
very positive.
It never does. So I'd be looking for a negative.
It is okay.
I'd be looking for a negative determination with conditions, but I would prefer to have those conditions signed off at the next meeting. We could have a chance to review them. And that if Ms. Plant wants to go out there to take a look, then I think you should mark the trees. Now, what a negative determination means is that we're going to allow you with the project. You can't start
Yep.
until we issue the order of conditions.
Okay.
Okay, and then you need to comply with those. Okay, those particular areas will allow to be filled. No fertilizers other than natural fertilizers.
Maybe near the water, some kind of silt fence, so if it does run off the...
How big is how big are the holes that you're filling? 6 inches, 4 inches?
In the
2 feet?
what?
You
The
showed
one
us
in the middle, like where you remove the tree?
where the water's.
It's a good size. It's probably
Yeah.
about, I'd say, 10 inches deep by, whatever, 6 foot by.
Yes, it's a lot.
Okay, so it's only 3 or 4.
No, I'm just talking about the spot near the house, where you just want to put the grass down.
Oh, that,
Really?
how big is that?
No, I'm just thinking about putting a silt fence.
Oh, yes, he did mention, the landscaper did mention that.
Yeah, okay.
That
So
would be
part
done.
of those conditions,
Yep.
we're probably going to suggest that you put wattles, because they're easily removable. We'll put wattles at some point.
Okay.
So I'd be looking for a vote for a negative with the conditions, and then we'll have the conditions next week. So you won't be able to start until you
Yep.
get this.
Okay.
I put a motion for 360 Ave, so moved
Okay.
with all the conditions.
I'm looking for a second.
I'll second that.
Okay. Well, I'm looking for a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. We're going to send you a list of things you need to do. We'll go over that next week, and then I'll sign off on it. You don't have to record this, but we do want to make sure you comply with it.
Yeah, absolutely. Like I said, we've been there almost 30 years, so it's been, it's been a ride. So do you want me, before we leave, do you want me to mark the trees that are not going to be cut? That is doable.
No, you're
Well, instead of marking all the ones you are cutting, it'd be simpler to do the ones that aren't being touched.
Right? It's easier to do the
That's
ones
fine,
that
either
aren't
way,
being
you know which
touched.
ones.
What would you
Right,
prefer?
so I know what's normal is you mark the ones that are being cut with
Right.
red. Okay.
But they're
So-
like in big, like groups of,
Yeah.
little skinny ones.
I think
So we could
Kimberly
grab
actually
that.
did discuss that using some sort of, environmentally safe ribbon or something like
Yeah.
that. If you just tied something around it loosely as to not damage the tree in any way.
Yep.
If you could just do that with the ones that you are keeping, then that would be appreciated for sure.
Okay.
Yes.
And if you don't mind emailing the office if they're ready,
This
then someone can send her the email, and if she so chooses, she can go over for the next meeting.
Yeah, so just send it to Patty and then she'll forward it to you.
will, Patty.
Yep, okay.
Good, thank you so much. Can we just take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
Okay. Just use it. Speak to you, get a second.
Talk about these agendas, 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes. It's something like-
But just, there's somebody looking at us.
I know, that's it's always been that way. Aspirations, they don't show, and you get to it.
5 minutes. Everything's 5 minutes. They keep it to that?
Yeah, then you have to have some motion to extend the time or something?
No, I mean, they literally took 5 minutes. I mean, all the work was done in advance of hearings.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
The spirit of the public hearing.
Exactly.
But it was, it was very.
Orderly.
It was in Norton. Yeah, Norton, Mass. Jennifer Carlino was the agent. And it was just.
Oh, did they have a conservation
Yeah,
agent?
they have an agent, yeah.
Yeah, that's a big plus
Yeah, she's
Yes,
been there
we
for,
had one.
for 5
15
minutes.
years at least. Yeah, what was the story? We still don't know. Yeah.
Not for me to say.
Yeah, back in sessions. Anybody here from 112 River Street? Okay, just to bring the board up to date, I did speak with a real estate agent. He was supposed to be in tonight, but I also need to go into the office, which I didn't have time today, to see what the second order that wasn't complied with needs to be complied with. This is when we had 2. So we'll move that to the next agenda. 341 Plymouth Street. I'm just going to
340.
make a brig. Now, who is 341?
I think it's
Oh, okay, all right, I get the numbers mixed up.
340, yeah.
Oh, okay,
46 is there. Nobody's
Okay.
341.
okay.
It should be on the opposite side
I
of the
I
street.
get the addresses wrong. I just want to bring the board up to date. I've spoken to them. We're not going to spend a lot of time on it. I did meet with Highway Superintendent during the storm last week. We know what's causing the water. We know where the water is coming from. It's different sources, but I'm just going to address in front of her house. And we have an idea as to how we can solve some of the issue. Route 106 is going to be repaved in August. We're hoping that if we can get an engineer to come out prior to that, and he's got to look at funds, to put some markings, because it's going to be critical for the elevations. The road's only going to be elevated 1.5 inches. and we've got water that's supposed to be heading west that's going east. So the next meeting, I will have something in writing as to what I would suggest, and I think that the highway department would concur. All right?
Thank you.
So, having said that,
Nothing on the other end, nothing on the other problem. Not yet. You're still investigating that.
which water?
O'Reilly's, that intersection,
That's worse.
that's
That's worse, okay.
Right.
Just, and I'm not going to get into a lot of detail. We found that from our observations, both driveways at both facilities tip the wrong way. So the water in front of O'Reilly's heads east in the basins on the west side. In front of yours, that water heads east in your basin. The basin that's supposed to accommodate Duncan's water is in the middle of the parking lot. So we know.
up at O'Reilly's, up at the intersection is, and Noddy's and
Okay. We had an assessment done by VHB, but they just assessed manholes, and they just took water samples looking for carcinogens and something that came out of the water. There's a new meeting that's tentative, it hasn't been scheduled, where they're gonna open up all the basins, they'll do all the measurements, and we'll see what's going on. I personally, at this point, don't think it's basin capacity. I think the water's staying on the road too long, and that's why you get all the splash.
well, I mean, there's got to be some fix to it. I mean, even,
Yeah, the only-
even if you put a retention pond out there, I mean, the town is just, it's like,
Oh, are you talking about behind O'Reilly's?
yeah.
Oh, no,
But
no.
I mean, for the town itself, the town has got that drain that goes.
Okay.
Into the field.
I'm really not going to get into that.
Yeah, no, that's fine, that's fine. Well, that's,
Yeah.
we know that everybody's addressing everything.
Yeah, we're working on it.
But before they go and pave,
That drain that comes off of Plymouth Street that goes out into Peck's property, or used to be Peck's property, is sold, has no impact on the roadway. So whatever they do to the roadway, that water's going to continue to flow. So what needs to be addressed is the,
Nonnies and,
not necessarily Nonnies. We know where the water's coming from. Your question is the water that's coming off of Plymouth Street going down that road that's got
The drainage pipe.
the drainage pipe. Okay. That's only, it's going to be addressed by the self-storage place or Starbucks.
No, they said no. No, that.
you're gonna see the plans.
Okay,
It's not-
yeah, I haven't. So,
See the plans.
okay.
Yeah.
I'll, at some point, I'll take a look at
For
it.
the road, it's separate.
Okay,
The catch basin for the road is here. The town's gonna go around it.
okay.
You have to,
I'll take a look at the plans.
When you do those testings with that, whatever group it is, Billy wants to be there to see it also.
Yeah, I spent one whole day chasing them, and I saw them do one basin. Good luck with that. You're going to have to address that with Steve Haywood. That's beyond my authority, because we need police details in the whole name. I'll let Steve know. I just want to point out one other thing. While I was out there, Stop and Shop, based on the letter that the commission sent them, they are addressing their stormwater management.
because there's no, we walked out there is no catch basins coming down that road that goes out into this, there's no catch basins.
Okay, you gotta clarify the main
As
entrance.
far as from the lights, from Stop and Shop to the lights, there's no catch basins. There's only catch basins in Noddy's and the Chinese restaurant.
Okay,
drainage.
you could be right. Okay.
Yeah, we know where it's coming from.
Well,
Yes.
we'll address that later. We can go around.
All right. Okay.
All right.
Thank you, folks. Okay.
We know you're working on it.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming. All right, we have a couple of items on the agenda.
Have a good night. Take care.
Have a good night.
Okay.
Next item is going to be the notice of intent and stormwater management applications. What has been suggested, and I did speak briefly with Kathy about this, is as these notice of intents come in and stormwater management applications come in, we're using Ecosystems and Pat Brennan. But we're hoping the board will concur that they'll be sending them out right away. If an application comes in 10 days before the meeting, it's going to sit there until we address it, then send it out to be reviewed.
So you go, it's going to automatically start a peer review when it first puts the notice of intent in, so we,
Correct.
that sounds good to me.
So that's automatic, so all of them are going to get peer reviews?
Yes.
All the time?
All your stormwater management should be
Peer review.
all peer review.
Yeah, typically.
If you've got a notice of intent because someone has to repair a septic system, I suppose you could maybe not have that peer reviewed.
Yeah.
But as of now, if the board so concurs, we'll send everything out as they come in. They'll be notified, whoever the applicant is, that they're going to have to submit X amount of dollars for peer review. And if they object to that and they want to come in, and we decide to waive it, fine. If we don't, then it has to go.
Okay, yeah, as long as there's a process for that, and the fees are based on the size of the project, correct?
Yeah, the larger the project, the
Correct.
Okay.
So both the NOIs
Over an acre.
and stormwater management would go up. Yeah, your stormwater management is over 43,000 square feet, other than the minor stormwater disturbances. But we do have an envelope right in Mont Ponce Inn in that area there that's entirely in the stormwater area. So any activity should come before us.
well, like the watershed you're talking?
Yeah, in the Mont Ponce watershed, anything around the ponds.
Okay.
That area is separate, and it's got a distinct section in stormwater management versus what we're doing at 265.
Okay.
So I'd be looking for a motion.
Let me just clarify that a little more. So any project that comes up before us that has a notice of intent, if they need a stormwater management plan, it has to be peer reviewed automatically? Or?
Okay, let's stay with the NOI. NOI is strictly going to be wetlands protection.
Okay.
So if you want to have a cap or a shield, so the question is, if we got a standard NOI that comes in, whether it be a septic repair or new construction,
Yeah, I can see that.
those should all go out.
Yeah.
The only thing that I can suggest is with the administrative assistant, if you've got a small project, if the applicant does not want to pay the money to send it out,
They can come before us.
he can come before the board.
Yeah, just make sure they stress that to the person.
Right.
Like, say if they have a small project, like it's a mom and pop doing a little small project around their house, which they
Correct.
have to have done,
Yes.
I suggest they come in front of us.
Okay, I would be looking for a motion to allow the administrative assistant to send out all peer reviews on NOIs and stormwater management applications.
I shall move the motion for
Okay.
that.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. In your package, there's a blanket determination of applicability. I'd like to have you take a look at that. It's a, I hope she put it in there, didn't she?
I don't think so. I don't think there's much in here.
This?
There might be. One piece of paper in it.
It says a WPA Form, well, I might have it wrong. This is a Form 2. Just take a quick peek at
Yeah, I'll
that.
take a look at that one.
Yeah,
because-
what I'm going to do, we'll send it to you, and just review it. It's a process where basically the agent would review that, and if it's in compliance with all of that, any work, minor work, that's done within the 50 to the 100 would be done on that type of application,
Instead of a notice of intent?
depending on the project. That front page outlines just what can be done, what can't be done. Things like swimming pools.
Oh, okay.
Is there a list here?
Yes.
Oh, jeez.
Right here. See these?
Okay.
Those are the projects that you're spending some time on.
one.
Maybe not, I'm sure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, and that too.
The gardens.
I'm okay with that, as long as they're not doing anything invasive, but why would they purposely? But
I think we can review it.
tree removal, yeah, that's gonna depend on the tree. So I don't think I'm okay with all of these. I'm okay with some of these.
That's okay. So what we do is we take a look at that, because we have to adopt that in the policy. We have to hold a hearing. So if the
Okay.
board's so inclined, then that's a good place to start.
Okay,
And
and we can agree on which ones
Correct.
we feel
Yeah.
are okay to do under this process, rather than have to go through the entire NOI process.
correct.
Okay, yeah, some of these I'd be fine with.
Okay,
But
good.
some of them I'm not.
You can take that, but I'll make sure that they email you a copy. She was supposed to email a copy to everybody.
Okay.
So take
You
that.
sure I can
and-
take this? Is
Yeah,
it-
you can take
okay.
that. Yep. We won't take any action. Policies and procedures, I don't know if there's anything we need to go over tonight. I think we're all working on some of the items in policies and procedures.
Yeah, I would prefer that we wait until we have the other
Full
members of
board.
the
Correct.
board present to talk about that.
Okay, let's go to the bills. We have legal ad, number 15537, 19 White Island Road for $45. I'll combine these if you don't mind. And a legal ad for 265 Monpont Street for $45. I'm looking for a motion to approve those.
I put a motion to approve the bills.
Can I ask for clarification?
Yes.
Sorry, just, is this one of the ones that will be reimbursed to us under the permitting process, or do we actually pay for these?
No, they reimburse. These are part of the
Okay.
fees. They pay the fees to us, we
All
have
right.
to pay them.
All right, I second that motion to pay
Okay,
that.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay. WB Mason, I'm not gonna vote on this one because it's my own nameplate. We'll take the nameplate for WB Mason. There's an invoice for $31.91. I'm looking for a motion to pay for that nameplate. It's gotta be this one.
I put a motion that we pay WB Mason.
I'll second that motion.
Okay, so we're gonna go to a vote, 2-2, it's gonna be 2-0-1, I'll abstain.
Well, we didn't vote yet, but yes.
Oh,
but
did we?
aye.
I'm sorry. I'm looking at the clock. It says 8:30, 2-0-1. And one of the items, next item is a line item transfer.
There's two of them.
You know, what it doesn't have, and I did see it, is the dollar amount. What happened is, one of the accounts, which is the 011715120, was expensed out incorrectly. It's a very small dollar amount, so I'm going to ask for a motion to approve that line item transfer.
Put a motion that we approve line item transfer from wetland account 011715120.
Okay, any seconds?
Yeah, let me just clarify, when you say a very small amount, any idea what the amount was?
$60, I think.
$60, that's just a sit right here.
Does it say, is it $60, 60?
Budget status report, is this 5961? Let me just see if this is it.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah, I think this is it.
is that what it is?
I think so.
Yep.
Yeah, okay. All right, I'll second that motion.
Okay, let's just include the dollar amount, if you don't mind.
Sure, it was $59.61.
Okay, and you made the motion? Second?
I put the motion.
He put the motion in, I second the
Second, vote.
motion. Aye.
Aye, aye, unanimous. Okay.
Meeting minutes?
I'm going to suggest the meeting minutes, you don't really have a quorum. I wasn't here on the 14th, right? So I can't vote on them. So you think we ought to hold them, or?
Yeah, just hold them to the next.
We'll hold them. And we have road opening permits. Does someone have them there?
Yes.
Looks like we have a road opening permit for 46, 80, and 86 McClellan Road. They're 4-foot by 6-foot cuts.
Yeah, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on Oak Street. And
Yes, 5 on Oak. I don't know that we need the addresses. And 19 and 22 Lawrence Road.
Question, what are these for? Are they for the forever stores? I cannot vote on these.
I'm going to disagree. I'm going
Okay, go ahead.
to tell you why. And if you want, where you were in employed by Eversource?
Yes, I am.
Okay, if you want to file a disclosure with the town clerk indicating you have no financial interest, you can vote on these. And if you don't want to, that's up to you. But all you need to do is do a disclosure. But if you want to hold off and do that
Yeah, I
first.
don't want to do any disclosures because technically I do make profit on stocks and stuff like that.
Yeah, oh, that's so far out. Okay, that's fine.
I don't know, I just don't
Okay,
want conflicts of interest.
Yeah, I think we can lump these up. Road openings, there's going to be 3 on McCollum Road, there's 2 on Lawrence Road, and there's 5 on Oak Street. I would be looking for a motion to approve these road openings.
And this is for utility access? Is that?
Yeah.
Yes,
Okay, I'll make a motion to approve the road openings.
and I'll second that motion. We'll go to a vote.
Aye.
Aye, so that's 2-0-1.
There's nothing to sign here.
Oh, wait a minute.
Do you probably just put a signature on it?
I have no idea.
I don't know. Maybe.
Yeah, they want, oh yeah, got to sign here. Does it say chair and co-chair? Oh, chair or co-chair, or
Oh,
co-chair.
sure, yeah, you just need one person. Bill, you need to sign that. Meeting minutes, get to.
Did I sign everything I need to sign?
Yeah, we.
Okay. I think I signed the bills. Yeah, that's better.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alan just has to sign that.
Just show me where.
Just ignore where I initialed because I should not have initialed. I don't know why I did that. Just gotta have it.
Oh, okay, up top. Okay, that's right, these are the same.
Should be 2 of them.
Okay, oh, sugar. You shouldn't have signed this, I'm okay with that. Where is the... WB Nation?
Another one, somewhere?
Yeah, let me do this. That's the WB Mason one that I didn't sign anyways. And I'm gonna sign these 2 road openings. There's a 3 road opening permits. That's 3. Is there anything else?
Nothing else on the agenda.
I'm looking for a motion to adjourn.
Can I ask a question here? So these meeting minutes that we're supposed to be approving,
Oh,
is this the piece of paper? Because it says approved date June 11th. So,
Oh, those are the meeting minutes, we're not gonna vote on those tonight?
oh, okay, okay.
yes, I wasn't here on May 14th, I don't believe. So
We're not voting. Okay,
Here we go.
sorry.
I'm looking for a motion to adjourn at 8:52.
I put a motion that we adjourn.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much, folks.
Oh, thank you.